Hi, my name is Chris McLean. A product design process takes you from the first thoughts of an idea to a full product design. This is an overview of the process I developed over my career and that I use today. There are two different kinds of functions, a state function and a path function. With a state function, it doesn't matter how you get there. Boiling water is the same if it's boiled on a stove or fire. But with a path function, it does matter how you get there. If the person climbed up that mountain, the view will be different. The person themselves will be different. A design is like this. It's a path function. There are easy routes and there are rigorous routes. And as with most things, the easy routes are illusory. They won't get you a remarkable design. You'll just end up paying later with extra time, money, and heartache to fix the problems. Using a rigorous design process helps you avoid all of that. I've broken down the design process into three parts: your user, conceptual design, and detailed design. We always start with your user. Ideation is first. There are an infinite number of things you can do. In ideation, you connect your attention, your expertise, a user community, and a problem. Hopefully, all of these align, but your expertise will also grow as you design. You'll never be an expert at the beginning of a design. I use word brainstorming and storyboarding to come up with a lot of ideas, and then I rate those ideas against a specific set of criteria to choose the best one. There is an important problem out there, and maybe only you can solve it. Once you've chosen a problem to solve, you empathize with your users. Maybe they've been struggling for a long time without a solution. They can be difficult and contradict each other, so it's easy to just imagine what they need and want instead of finding out. But you have to find out to make a meaningful change in their lives. For this, I use a process called Quality Function Deployment, QFD, and I prepare a list of requirements. I also start thinking about cost and sales channels because your design has to support you. Then I clearly define my user, their problem, and the benefits my design will bring them. We're not talking yet about what the design is, just the benefits it will give them. In functional mapping, we start with the idea that every design is a system within a system. Your design will never stand alone. It will always be in relation to your user and the world around it. And to solve a complex problem, you need to break it down and decide where your system ends. If you do this well, you won't miss parts of the problem and you won't design in extra things your user doesn't need. The goal is to make your design a seamless part of your user's life. The first part of conceptual design is brainstorming. This is joyful and painful. You're digging deep into your creativity. In episode 2, I described part of the decision-making process, but I also brainstorm with words and lots of sketches. I also do a ton of research. Prototyping and brainstorming are iterative. Sometimes you need to make and test something to decide if it's a good idea. You also need to get user feedback so you're not designing in a bubble. Stay in brainstorming as long as you can. It's chaotic, but this is where you'll find the answers you need. Once you know what it looks like and how it works, you need to bring it into focus. There's a lot of push and pull between function and manufacturing. Some things work well together, some things don't. There's also industrial design, the look and feel of your design, and cost, assembly, and sustainability. In design analysis, we try to reconcile all of these by using 3 analyses: design for manufacturability, design for assembly, and design for sustainability. We also develop a fully costed bill of materials, a multi-channel cost model, preliminary calculations, and drawings. There's a lot of work here, but an idea that can't be made isn't a real idea. All of this is necessary because the next step is to put your design into the crucible. This is the most difficult part of the design process. It might make you despair, but it's necessary and you need to face it with courage. At this point, there are failure modes in your design. Either you will find them or your users will find them. Instead of ignoring them, we use a design, failure modes, and effects analysis, a DFEMA, to methodically break our designs and find their weak points. Then we either mitigate the risks or design them out. Prototyping and calculations help a lot here. At the end of the DFEMA, both you and your design will be stronger. And then the conceptual design review. For me, conceptual design is a lot bigger than it is for most designers. In conceptual design, you have freedom to move and make important changes. So this is where the real opportunities are. In the conceptual design review, you ask yourself tough questions. Are your users delighted? Have you met the functional requirements? Are you on budget? Have you designed for sustainability? Is risk at acceptable levels? And are you on schedule? There is a lot of rigor in this conceptual design process, but the rigor doesn't remove the creativity. We let the process carry the weight of how we design so that we can focus all our creativity on solving the problem. When we're satisfied, we move on to detailed design. Detailed design is somewhat deterministic. Things might shift around a bit, but mostly you're just documenting your design so it can be made. The documents you create will be very specific to your design. They also change if it's a device, a service, or an application. There could be drawings, flowcharts, procedures, final calculations, code, and quality assurance checklists. And because you completely defined your design during conceptual design, you won't have to change the detailed design 10 times. At this point, the design process is basically done, and you make a separate decision. Do you launch? Not every design should be launched. It's an expensive decision, and the market might not be right. But completing a design is still a triumph, just like completing any work of art is a triumph. Completing a design can be enough for a designer. But there are 2 reasons that shouldn't hold you back. Fear of what the world will think is not a good reason, because you will always be afraid before you launch a new product. That fear will never go away, and it will take courage to launch anyway. You will also never feel like you are done. Your design will never be perfect, but it can be beautiful and useful, even in its imperfection. And in the future, it can always be improved. Designs are updated every year. So, if it's the right decision, push through, because you only solve your user's problem when they are holding and using your design. That is the moment when a designer is most generous. That last slide is hitting home for me because I'm about to launch my Heroic Design Workbook and Masterclasses. I'm having all of those feelings, but this is just the beginning and I'm in it for the long haul. So if you have an idea for a new product or know someone who does, please check out the Heroic Design Workbook on Kickstarter. There's a link in the notes. Thank you for your time and attention.